ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ फोर्थ मंत्र। प्रतिबोधविदितं मतम् अमृतत्वं हि विन्दते आत्मना विन्दते वीर्यं विद्यया विन्दते मृतम्। So Brahman is known, pratibodha viditam matam, Brahman is known through every cognition. Amritattvam hi vindate, well, knowing Brahman like this, one gains a immortality from that cognition. Once if you know that which is invariably present in every cognition, once you know that, you know the Brahman, that's what. So what is invariable is this consciousness. That invariable consciousness in every cognition is Brahman. That's how you know the Brahman. So you can tell, yes, Viditam Brahma. I know Brahman. You can tell very well because you know it as a subject. You know it as a subject. You know it, you know it as an invariable consciousness, and all the factors are there in the cognition, that is knower, known and knowledge. All are this Brahman alone. Just wait. So pratibodha viditam matam amrutattvam hi vindate. One gains immortality from this cognition. And Atmana Vindate Viryam, one gains the capacity to know by oneself. And Vidya Vindate Amrutam, that's a very popular statement, one gains immortality by knowledge. So this is how the thing is. And so, well, this invariable consciousness which is present in all cognition, that is the Brahman. That's what Shastra reveals. And then definitely we should understand that the whole cognition is Brahman. There is nothing other than Brahman. And for that, well, we should understand that Brahman is the cause of entire creation, including everything here, in the cognition also. Because in cognition, you will say that there is something known. Known is a part of Jagat. It is Jagat. And you are the knower. So whatever is there in this Jagat entirely is nothing but Brahman. That Brahman is invariable consciousness. And that is present as a subject in all the cognition, as an invariable factor. And that's how you can say, well, I am Jagat Karanam Brahma, I am everything. But you use a cognition in order to understand you are everything. So that is how it is. So this is called Brahmajnanam. This is how we understand. So Brahman is introduced as we have seen that it is as a Jagat Karanam. And the Jagat is basically in effect, and Brahman, which is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, it is the efficient cause as well as material cause. Brahman is a conscious being, and well, the creation appears as, creation is inert, therefore it is really not the cause. Brahman has not transformed into the Jagat. Otherwise, the Jagat also should be a conscious entity, but it is not like that. And therefore, definitely, it is a Mithya Jagat. And Brahman is the, Upadana Karanam of Mithya Jagat. And therefore, Upadana Karanam also is equally Mithya. So, Karanatvam, the causal status is Mithya. And for that, I have given you two things I have already told you. That, it's Adhyaropa and Apavada. Both things are there. In Adhyaropa, well, you take any form and you superimpose that it is effect. It is a superimposition. Like you take a pot and you call it as a that it is an effect. It's a creation. So that about pot is a creation is a Adhyaropa basically. You can understand very well. So the first step is you take the pot as a creation. Second step is what is the cause of this creation? Pot. What is the cause of the pot? And then third step is you analyze, you analyze the pot, that it is not really an effect. It is not really a creation. Then the fourth step is, then clay is also not the cause of it, right? So there are four steps, two steps of Adhyaropa. Means first step is the pot is a creation. That's Adhyaropa. Second step, the clay is a cause of the pot. That's the second step. So you superimpose the effecthood on the pot and the causalness, etc. also on the clay. And third step is you analyze the pot and you say the pot is not a creation. Pot is not an effect. And then fourth step, clay is not the cause also. Could you follow? So this is how two steps of in which you superimpose effect and cause. Other two steps are you negate effect and cause. That's what it is. That is how we have to understand. And therefore, whatever the entire pot is just a clay. And therefore, there is no effect and there is no cause. This is how the whole Jagat, instead of pot, you can take any name and form. Ultimately, you can start that it is an effect, it's a creation. Then what is the cause of the creation? You find Asti Bhati Priyam is a cause, or the Brahman is a cause of this particular thing, whatever you have taken, any X thing. And third thing is, really speaking, that particular the particular form is not really a creation. Then Brahman is not really the cause also. So this is how it is understood. So this Adhyaropa Apavada is to prove ultimately effect is Mithya. If clay is not a cause and pot is not a recreation, then this appearance of pot, which you cannot negate. Even after going through Adhyaropa Apavada, then you find that there is really not a creation called pot. Yet the pot will appear. You will use it also as a pot. You use the word pot. You will buy it also. You will fill up water also. Everything you will do. This is called Mithya, in which you cannot negate the negation even after understanding that it is really not there. You cannot negate sunrise even after you understand that there is no sunrise. Could you follow what I am saying? And so it is unlike the example of a Rajju Sarpa. Please understand. So everywhere we cannot bring Rajju Sarpa. Everywhere people just bring everywhere Rajju Sarpa. It is not going to work. That's how Shastra has given the example of a clay and etc. Mrittika ityeva satyam. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. Mrittika ityeva satyam. Vikara etc. That is the creation. The effect is basically nama matram. The pot word is there. But you don't find outside a pot. You find only clay. That's how it is. Only nama matram. So you have varieties of the names. But according to that, there is no meaning. There is no object. That's what it means. So effect is Mithya, Jagat is Mithya. And the very causal status, is to the Brahman is Mithya. That is very important to establish because this ultimately Brahman is consciousness. And everything what is born of this Brahman is ultimately Mithya. And therefore, even the body here, the physical body, we are interested right now in these two bodies. So physical body is also equally Mithya. And we have proved also Mithya. We have proved Mithya. There is a word called physical body. Physical body. there is a word, but then you find, let me see what is the physical body, and then you find it is all elements. This is elemental model. We have a different model. Ayurveda will have a different model. Everyone will have a different model. And this our medical science has its own model of telling. So there are varieties of the model. You can look upon the physical body in a varieties of ways. What are the constituents? And well, you find that this is just a, bunch of elements. Then bunch of elements, you call it as a physical body. People are not ready for that. Here, people are not ready. And therefore, that shows the physical body word is there. But there is no physical body outside for the meaning. So, nama matram. So, basically, body, etc. is a nama matram, is just for the namesake. It's really not there. And therefore, outside it is just all bunch of elements, etc. Like flower. Word flower is there, but there is no meaning. There is no object. What you find is, well, all this is petals and stamen and pollen, etc., etc. And basically, that is how the things are. And therefore, this is creation is mithya. Not only this physical body, the subtle body also is a bunch of varieties of limbs, senses, etc., organ of action, mind, etc. All this is also a composite entity. Well, that composite entity, well, definitely it is all the constituents are there. You cannot call it a particular constituent also, you will not call it as a subtle body. If you combine together and put a heap of it, that also you are not ready to call it as a subtle body. Then what is subtle body? That's how it is, nama matram. So basically everything in the creation is like this. It's an assembly. And a car also is like that. Pujya Swami used to give example of car also. Car also is an assembly. But for the word car, C-A-R, there is no corresponding object. Because if you try to find a corresponding object, and if you analyze, you find any component of the car, you are not ready to call it as a car. You take out even a chassis, you have another word now. The moment you try to analyze the object called car, you won't find car at all. You have different names. Then we can tell, okay, the chassis is car or car is chassis. No, you say no, that's not correct. Tire is not the car. That is not the car. The seat is not the car. The glass is not the car. Then what is car? What is car? No, then everything put together is car. You put one by one, four wheels on top of it. Above there is a chassis and everything. You just make a heap of that. Call it car. That's what it is. No, that is also not a car. Then what is car? Oh, Swamiji, it is intelligently put together. But what is put together is all limbs. Then I am putting together all this. Why I am not calling? So it is just what I am saying is what you call it as a car, as an object. If you analyze, you won't find you have another words. For one word car, when you analyze, you have a bunch of words. Another bunch of words you have. So that is why anything in the creation, which we call effect, for which we consider the cause as a Brahman, that is ultimately like this. So basically, Sukshma Sharira also is, mithya. And that is very important to understand. Gross body and the subtle body. It is also part of Jagat, but that is mithya. Now, before we go, some people take this Sukshma Sharira as the Atma, and there are school of thoughts, based on this view. They are basically like Charvakas only. Some of them say Indriya is Atma, some of them say mind is Atma, etc., etc. And this Sukshma Sharira enjoys an identity, as the first person I. There is identification of I with the Sukshma Sharira. And these theologians, they consider this Sukshma Sharira as the Atma, as the soul they call. And this soul is believed to survive the death. So once the survival of the soul is accepted, and definitely Sukshma Sharira definitely survives the death of physical body. So once the survival of the soul is accepted, then there are promises of eternal heaven or threats of eternal damnation, etc. for the surviving soul also will come into place. And therefore, this is just a by the way, the Sukshma Sharira, some people take Sukshma Sharira as the Atma, and they don't have word called Atma, etc. They call it as a soul. Anyway, and some other are there that they say the soul that carries this baggage of punya and papam, etc., gathered in this life and in the previous life will go to either Vaikuntha or Kailasa, etc. And depending upon the type of baggage. I mean, a lot of punya is there, then definitely, otherwise, no. So, certain karmas, and thereafter certain karmas, from the account of that soul, combine themselves to give a new body to the soul where those karmas can be fulfilled. So, this cycle of birth and death goes on. And every theology, in fact, is the same with only shades of different. Means they all consider this subtle body with certain punya papas, etc. It survives the death of the physical body and it travels, etc. Anyway, whatever it is, but the thing is, any theology which is present in the India, etc. There also everyone considers this. Everyone considers like this: Ishvara is Ishvara, and Jiva is a Jiva, etc., etc. Jagat is Jagat. So this is how they have that duality. So even though Jagat includes this body, mind, sense complex, but the Jiva is not included in the Jagat. We should understand this. Otherwise, we will not call Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Because when you say Jiva, means if you say this physical body or subtle body, that's a part of Jagat. Then how can you differentiate between Jiva and Jagat? So the body, mind, sense complex is included, but Jiva is not included in the Jagat. We should understand that. So Jiva's body, mind, sense complex is included. Anyway, but our Shastra is very unique in this sense that Brahman is that intelligent and material cause of this everything, Mithya Jagat, and Brahman is Satyam, everything else is effect, that is Mithya. That is non-separate from the cause. Mithya means it is non-separate from the cause. So all the effects are Mithya, means body is Mithya. Now I am coming to the point. The body is Mithya, the senses are Mithya, the mind also is Mithya, thoughts are Mithya, and so everything is Mithya means entire cognition basically. All the constituents in the cognition is Mithya. Because in the cognition you are a knower, and then object is there, which is object of knowledge, which is known, and the very knowledge, the thought. Everything ultimately it's part of Jagat, and it is effect, and either a subtle body or a physical body, and definitely it is all Mithya, and therefore entire cognition is Mithya. But the main thing is, where there is a Mithya, there the Satyam is there. Where the rope is, where the snake is, there the rope is. That's the thing. So where the cognition is, there the consciousness is, as invariably present. So where the knower is, consciousness is. Where the known is, the consciousness is. Where the knowledge is, the consciousness is. Could you follow? To prove Mithya means what? Ultimately, because wherever there is a Mithya, the Satyam is present there, because there is no Mithya without Satyam. And that is how we are saying entire cognition, knower, known and knowledge, everything is consciousness, and that consciousness is Brahman. And the consciousness is the subject. So I can say, I am the Brahman, and I am in the form of knower, known and knowledge. All the three are non-separate from me. Basically, I transcend all the three. Why you should tell I transcend all the three? Because if I am the knower, then I cannot be the known, because these two are opposite things. And therefore, basically, if I say I am knower and known both, definitely in my real nature, all the three I transcend. Satyam always transcends the Mithya. Mithya can never transcend the Satyam. Mithya is non-separate from the Satyam. Mithya cannot exist independent of the Satyam. Satyam exists independent of the Mithya. And therefore basically I am the Brahman, the consciousness, in the form of knower, known and knowledge, transcends all the three. Basically I am just not a knower, I am not known, I am not a knowledge. In my real nature I am just consciousness, invariable consciousness, present in all cognitions as knower, known and knowledge. That is the criteria. So I am invariable consciousness in every cognition as a subject. That is not enough. You should know that is Brahman through the Shastra, that is the Mahavakyam. But Swamiji, I am invariable consciousness. That is what in Mahavakyam? That is Tvampada. That is you. But then Tvampada means Jiva. Well, that's how the Tvampada Lakshartha you have to take. Otherwise, how will you equate with Brahman? And therefore, definitely Bhagatyaga Lakshana, you understand that is what we have done, Shrotrasya Shrotram. That is how whatever is object of knowledge, that is not me. That's how initially we said. So in Tvampada you have included that you are hearer and seer and everything. You have identified with the body, you have identified with the organs, you have identified with the physical body also through the subtle body. Well, you are not. You are merely consciousness, that we have told you. So that is the Tvampada Lakshartha. And so Tvampada Lakshartha means invariable consciousness. That is the I. And that is now equated with the Brahman. And that has been, of course, this Mahavakya has been told by the Shastra, has introduced that. And therefore, that invariable consciousness is Brahman, which is Jagat Karanam. But the effect is, if it is Jagat Karanam also, then it will be a status of Brahman. But the effect is Mithya. And therefore, the causal status of Brahman is also Mithya. But we have introduced as a Jagat Karanam in order to tell you that, well, ultimately the Brahman pervades everything, which is Satyam. Whatever is there in the snake is nothing but the rope. There is nothing other than that. The length of the snake is the length of the rope. The thickness of the snake is the thickness of the rope. Everything, the curvature of the snake is the curvature of the rope. So wherever there is a Mithya, there itself the Satyam is lying. In fact, I can tell the snake is Satyam. Because snake, in my understanding, snake is rope. And rope is Satyam. And therefore I can tell snake is Satyam. Anyway, we'll see that also. So what I am saying is, whatever is present by introducing Brahman as a Jagat Karanam, we are not interested to tell you Brahman as a Jagat Karanam. Basically, we are introducing it as Jagat Karanam. But by showing you that Jagat is Mithya, ultimately, wherever everything in the Mithya creation is there the Satyam, the Brahman is there. And therefore, in cognition also, well, the known, wherever the known which is Mithya, known is a part of Jagat, which is Mithya, well, it is also consciousness. The Satyam consciousness, Brahman is lying there. I mean, it is there. And knower also, well, it's also part of Jagat, and that knower also is Brahman. And the very thought, which is also in the part of subtle body, that is Jagat, that also is basically consciousness. That is why we are interested in that all the three are Brahman. Brahman is consciousness, invariable consciousness, and all the three are present in varieties of the cognitions. The knower is there, the known is there, the knowledges are there. Well, in all the cognitions, the Brahman is the Satyam thing. That Brahman is invariable consciousness, that is you. That is a Tvampada Lakshya. And therefore, you are everything. Whatever is there is you. That's how we want to prove. So, wherever there is Mithya, the Satyam is present there because there is no Mithya without Satyam. And this makes the difference between Shastra and Shunyavadi. The view of this, the school of Buddhist. The Shunyavadis conclude that essentially everything is zero and is therefore Mithya because there is no Satyam. So in their view, like this table, this desk, for instance, is Mithya because it is dependent upon wood. Therefore there is no desk, Shunya. Then they say wood is also Mithya because it depends upon something else. And that will be dependent upon something else. And so whatever is dependent upon is really not there. If desk is dependent upon wood, then desk is really not there. The desk is Shunya. then wood is Satyam. Now, but wood also is dependent on something else. So there, wood is also Shunya. Then something else is there, that also is Shunya. And then they say, well, ultimately everything depends upon, therefore it is Mithya and it is Shunya. So everything is Mithya because underneath, as a Adhishthana, there is a zero. And therefore this is Shunyavada. Well, we say there is no Mithya without Satyam. There is no Mithya if there is no Satyam. So wherever there is Mithya, there has to be Satyam. Which means Satyam is neither the table nor the wood. Well, so basically, if table is where, if you say the table is Mithya, it's correct. Then wood is Satyam. So table is wood means basically I can say table is Satyam also. Because table is wood. And therefore, well, it is not a zero. When you say the snake is not there, snake is Mithya, means not zero. You should say snake, instead of snake there is a rope, which is reality. And therefore, basically, ultimately the table is Satyam, wood is Satyam, because table is nothing but the wood. And therefore, well, if you say, well, wood is, and therefore wood is not Satyam, well, then something else is Satyam. So ultimately, Satyam is the basis. Whenever you say something Mithya, there is not zero there. The reality is there. And therefore, the ultimate basis of everything is Satyam. And so I can say, well, table is Satyam, wood is Satyam, like I can say everything is Brahman. Same way. So any name and form is Mithya means what? Wherever there is a Mithya, there Satyam is there. Otherwise the Mithya would not appear. The very existence of Mithya is from the Satyam. That is how it is Mithya. The very existence of the snake is because of the rope. And therefore a snake appears means the very Satyam which lends existence is right there. Anyway, so basically wood is Satyam and the table is Satyam, etc., etc., which means Satyam is neither table nor wood, etc. So same way, before that also I have told you, same thing in this way. So pulp is also Satyam because wood depends upon pulp, you will say. Then pulp, well, definitely depends upon some molecules or chemicals. And chemical depends upon molecules, and that depend upon atoms, and that depend upon particles. Whatever is there, I know the concept. So basically everything is ultimately one Satyam alone. And therefore, basically you can tell wood is Satyam and the table is Satyam and the pulp is Satyam. Everything is Satyam, but basic Satyam is not any one of them. Because Satyam is particle also and Satyam is wood also, you cannot tell. So basically everything is Satyam, but Satyam transcends everything. That is how it is. So this is how one has to understand the Satyam Brahma. In our case also, there is no necessity of further analysis. Satyam is just our understanding of a thing. Basically, like a Mithya is our understanding, like beauty is our understanding. Same way, beauty is not an object. Beauty is our understanding of the object. Same way here, Satyam and Mithya both are under our understanding of the object. So there is no physical reduction. We are not reducing physically. Well, now wood I am reducing to, the table I am reducing to, wood, and wood I am reducing to pulp. Pulp I am reducing to chemical or molecules, and molecules I am we are not doing physical reduction here. We are simply understanding that ultimately everything is basically, well, this name and form has existence in something else, that is Satyam. So any object, well, in our case also, which we cognize, which we tell that this is known, etc., and the Satyam is right there in reality. And because any object, here and we have taken a table, etc., ultimate reality is the consciousness. So you can take any object or in a cognition, which object of knowledge, instead of a table you can take anything. That gnayam, that object, well, basically is a reality. Object is Brahman, you can say. What is known, object of knowledge also is Brahman. The knower also is Brahman. And the very knowledge, the thought also is Brahman. So everything is, what you call as a Mithya, in fact the Satyam is lying there. Consciousness is lying there, or Brahman is lying there. And well, you can say everything is Brahman. Known is Brahman, knower is Brahman, knowledge is Brahman. Or known is consciousness, knowledge is consciousness, and we have seen that. Known is consciousness, knower is consciousness, and the very thought also is consciousness. That is how it is. So this is our understanding of the thing. And basically the consciousness transcends all the three. I mean, consciousness is independent of all the three. It's not that the consciousness exists as knower, as known. No, it is independent. All these three are non-separate. All these three are superimposition. All these three are mithya. Basically, they appear like the snake appears. I mean, the rope appears as a snake, but the snake is non-separate from the rope. Same way, this knower, known, knowledge. Well, they are all non-separate from this Satyam Brahma, that is consciousness, invariable consciousness, which is subject. And cognition of any vritti, of course, cognition of any object, implies a vritti. And that vritti also is Satyam. So, Satyam means you can understand now, like the snake is rope, snake is Satyam you call, by understanding that it is nothing but the rope, same way. So that vritti also is Satyam. Vritti is not, so vritti is, Satyam means vritti is also consciousness. Our vritti is Brahman, let's say, because Satyam Brahma. So vritti is Satyam. The vritti is not object, because basically an object is there without one's vritti. People always equate a thought and the object. That's another problem. That's not correct. And Puja Swamiji always tells that since you, in your mind, you don't know that there is a pit in front of you, it doesn't mean there is no pit. There is a pit. I mean, you fall down, then you will realize there is a stone. And when definitely you get hit, your leg get hit to this stone, then you realize that there is a stone. And if you don't know there is a skin of a banana lying on the road, you don't know. And you put a leg on it. Well, and then you sleep and then you realize that there was a skin of banana. So, object is there without a vritti. But one cannot say the object is without vritti. That is there. Object exists without vritti, but you cannot say the object is without vritti. Well, if you say, the banana is, well, definitely the thought must have taken place. And therefore, a vritti is always in keeping with the object. Even if one does not think of objects, they are there for one to recognize. So this is how the Vyavahara takes place. Pramana and Prameya, the Vyavahara takes place this way, operating a means of knowledge to know something. So this is how the Jagat is basically. So for this Jagat Chitram, the painting of the world, the canvas is this Satyam Brahma. Everything is non-separate from this Satyam Brahma. Ultimately, everything is Satyam Brahma. That is how it is. Because whatever you paint on the canvas, whatever is there is Brahman, you can say. Therefore, in Panchadashi, in Chitradeep Prakarana, it has been compared with. I am sorry to tell that please don't disturb. You won't get now. I have made it mute all. Generally I was not to do because of some complications now, but I think I have to do it now. Anyway, so such a serious topic is going on and people just, I don't know what they do. Anyway, so it has been, this Brahmana has been compared as like a big canvas. This example is there even in Panchadashi in the Chitradeep Prakaranam. And whatever you paint, like Rama and Sita and the forest and everything is ultimately canvas. What you say, the Rama is nothing but a canvas. Whatever you say, Sita also is a canvas. So it appears there are varieties of the names and forms. There are trees and there is a river and then the Rama, Lakshmana, etc. and Sita, everything. So as though all names and forms are different. But basically it is one canvas alone. It is nothing but I can very well say Rama is a canvas. I mean, this painting. Rama is a canvas. Sita is a canvas. So I can tell Rama is mithya, basically canvas is satyam, or I can say Rama is a canvas. Can I say or not? Rama is a canvas. Exactly like this. This entire creation basically is this Brahman. Brahman is the cause, as we have defined that way. Basic, and all exist on this Satyam Brahma as like different types of paintings, different types of names and form. They are all non-separate from the Brahman, which is nothing but the consciousness. And therefore, basically, I can tell any name and form I can pick up and say this is Brahman. This is consciousness, either I can say. And therefore, object of knowledge, which is the entire world, well, which we call it as a known, is Brahman. The very vritti also is Brahman. And the very knower also is Brahman. So, knower, knowledge and known, everything is Satyam Brahma, or everything is consciousness, well, that we can very well say. And that consciousness which is like this, which is Satyam Brahma, which is cause of everything, which is reality of everything, which is in the form of everything, and well, that consciousness is present in every cognition. May you realize it. You are that consciousness which is Satyam Brahma, which is everything. Right? So there are no things. Basically, the Rama, Sita, etc. are also there, trees are also there, and canvas also is. No. Rama is canvas and everything is canvas. If canvas is not there, there is no existence of Rama or Sita or anything. That is what we have to understand. So this non-separation has to be very clear. So like snake is non-separate from the rope, snake is non-separate from the rope. Well, if I say the snake is rope or snake is real, then there is no problem at all. I can understand that there are no two things which are non-separate from each other. There is one thing alone, and which appears in this form, and that appearance will continue in case of Jagat. That is how it is mithya. The appearance continues. Even after you know that this is consciousness or this is Brahman, well, it will continue in that, to appear in that form. So this is that kind of a relationship, well, Brahman has with Jagat. So definitely, when we say that the thing is a mithya, it does not mean we really reject it. At all levels of mithya, at the level of external objects or a body or senses or the thought and the very knower, all well, basically is one Brahman alone, one consciousness alone. There is nothing other than that. The invariable Satyam Brahma, well, in all of them it is present. So Pratibodha Viditam, this Pratibodha Viditam, well, in every cognition, Bodham Prati, in every cognition, the Satyam Brahma is very much present as invariable consciousness. That has been told. And I means consciousness very well, right? Can understand. And M means the existence. So consciousness, that is existence, is present in every cognition. And that is Satyam Brahma. That is the cause of the entire creation. That Satyam Brahma means anything which you know is non-separate from the consciousness. In fact, that is the consciousness, you can very well tell. And this consciousness is the nature of oneself. It is nature of everyone. Pujya Swami says you are conscious of everything, means you are consciousness. What's your nature? If you are conscious of everything, what is your nature? It is consciousness. But that conscious, then definitely to say this much, if you can prove that you are basically a consciousness, then you don't require Shastra, but Shastra is required, because that consciousness is everything. That consciousness alone is there. That is Satyam. Other than that, everything is mithya, has to be known. Well, and therefore, that is where Shastra comes. That this consciousness, invariable consciousness, present in every cognition, is this Brahman, is the Satyam Brahma, which is the cause of everything, which is the cause of mithya Jagat. And well, the causal status also is not there. Whatever is there is just Brahman. And therefore, that is how Jnanis all say everything is me. They can say very well. Everything is me, they are able to say because of this. Every form is a form of a me. Well, Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam, Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani, etc. Bhagavan also says very clearly, Sarva Bhutastham, in all the beings, I am there. So I am is basically the consciousness. I is consciousness, definitely. I cannot be independent of consciousness. and M is the existence. So I, the limitless, I, the consciousness, which is existence, is present in every cognition. It is the nature of oneself. It is nature of everyone, because everyone is using I am. And therefore, there are not many consciousnesses. One consciousness alone, and people say I am, that consciousness is one alone. So basically, there is one limitless consciousness, which is oneself, and which alone everybody refers as a I. And therefore, I and I, there is no difference, really speaking. If you just look from the standpoint of consciousness, if you don't include anatma into that, then there are no two I's basically. You won't find a difference between. You cannot distinguish one I and the second I. Really, try it. Try to find a difference. You will have to include some anatma in that. You will have to include your body. You will either have to include your thought. Something you will have to include. Any name and form you will have to include in order to find a difference between two I's. Otherwise, simply I am is one limitless consciousness. There are no two I's, in fact, if from the standpoint of consciousness. And so, but Swamiji, but then why it looks that I is different here, I is different here? So, like the space looks different. The part space and room space looks different. So, the space has no difference, but they look different. And definitely they are different in terms of their usages. Room space is, part space is not used to, it cannot accommodate me and my family. But room space can accommodate. Otherwise, why should I buy a $1 million house? I can live in the pot. I can buy a $1 pot and stay in that. So pot space and room space has a different usage. You cannot. Swamiji, if space is one, then let me use pot space instead of a room space. No, you cannot. You cannot use. So basically, due to the difference in the upadhi, adjuncts, there are seeming difference between the room space and pot space, but essentially there is no difference. Same way here also, because of the upadhis, mind is upadhi, senses are upadhi, everything is upadhi. The physical body is upadhi. That's how we look that you are a conscious being and I am a conscious being. The consciousness is different between you and me. But it is exactly like a space. And there is no difference as such. And at least in this case of space and the upadhis, like pot and room and pot and room and the space, they are of equally reality. Same. Pot and space are of equal reality. So pot space and room space, you will find a little difference in whatever. There is no difference, but yet you find the difference. But that kind of a division also is not there between Brahman and these upadhis, or consciousness and the upadhis of all individuals, because upadhis are mithya. All upadhis are non-separate from Brahman or consciousness, and therefore you cannot find a demarcation between a consciousness and any upadhi. Consciousness and physical body. Try to find a demarcation between them. Swamiji, here consciousness ends and here body starts. You cannot find a distinction between consciousness and thought. Try to find. Consciousness and object of knowledge, that is known. Consciousness and knower. Try to find a difference or distinction. You will not be able to find. So basically, they are all non-separate. Basically, like you cannot distinguish a rope and snake. So here the rope ends and here snake begins. You cannot find. You will not be able to find. This is exactly. This is just a projection. In reality, it is Satyam. Snake is Satyam. Snake is Satyam. Snake is Satyam. Whatever is there in snake is nothing but rope. Then where is snake? If I tell snake is Satyam, because whatever I find is nothing but rope in the the width, in the length, or in the curvature, whatever is there is ultimately is just a rope, then I can definitely tell the snake is rope means snake is Satyam. And therefore, everything, the knower is Satyam Brahma, the known is Satyam Brahma, the very thought also is Satyam Brahma, whatever is there is Satyam Brahma. And Satyam Brahma, that is consciousness, is independent of all the three. Please understand this. It is not this, all the three are equal to Brahman. Knower plus knowledge plus known is equal to Brahman. Don't do that job. Brahman will be not Brahman, it is limited entity. And therefore, Brahman is transcend both, all the three. The logic is knower and known cannot be one. If you say knower also is Brahman and known also is Brahman, means Brahman transcends both. Brahman transcends both, basically. And therefore, otherwise knower and known are very opposite entity. I am a knower of a clip. Then if I say I am a clip, it is like this. It is never true. Never true. Therefore, where all the three are Brahman, all the three are consciousness, but consciousness transcends all the three, because consciousness, that is Satyam Brahma, it is Satyam, it is the reality. All the three are Mithya. They are not there, really speaking. And so, basically, this is how the Brahma Jnanam takes place. In this way, we have to understand. Start with this. Start with the cognition, and then from cognition, what is the invariable factor? You will find other than consciousness, thought is also variable. The object of knowledge, object of thought also is variable, etc., etc. But the consciousness is invariable, present in all the cognitions, in all the states, waking state, dream state, and even sleep state, deep sleep also. That after that, well, invariable consciousness, well, that is me, the subject, which is present in all the three. But how can you say it is I? That is what you say. I was dreaming and I experienced in the waking state. That's what now, and I got asleep. So I is that invariable factor. I is invariable factor in all the three, and therefore that consciousness is you, I. The invariable factor is you. That you say as I. And that then, well, it is equated with Satyam Brahma. So basically, I am Brahman. This I am limitless consciousness. How can I say I am limitless consciousness? Because basically, this Brahman, which is consciousness, is the Jagat Karana. It is the cause of everything. It is the cause of entire world. An entire world, it's a cause means what kind of an effect? Effect is basically Mithya. The consciousness cannot be transformed into inert Jagat. Consciousness cannot be transformed into inert Jagat. Therefore, basically effect is Mithya. And effect is Mithya means basically the Satyam is right there in entire creation. And whatever the form is, it cannot be separated from the Brahman, Satyam Brahma, which is consciousness. And thereby entire creation is Mithya. And this Brahman is Satyam. And that Brahman, well, is nothing but invariable consciousness. And therefore, I am not just an invariable consciousness, I am limitless consciousness. I am limitless consciousness in which all the known things are superimposed, all the thoughts, knowledge are superimposed, and the very knower is superimposed. All the three cannot be independent of them, independent of consciousness. And therefore, basically, I transcend all the three. I am limitless consciousness. That is how one has to understand. I am in the form of knower, known, and knowledge. And all the three are non-separate from me. And therefore, this is, I transcend all the three. Even if they are not there, I am there. Well, knower resolves, object of knowledge resolves, and even the thought also resolves, but I am independent. I am Satyam, which is independent. So this is just a gist of it. This is the only way. Well, where is the question of objectification of Brahman now? Where is the question of objectification? That's how it has been told very beautifully. That, but Swamiji, where this Atma, Anatma, Viveka, and where it has gone? It has not gone anywhere. You have to start with that. In fact, when you say I am invariable consciousness in all the three, means basically you are not a hearer, you are not a seer, etc. You identified in a waking state with the organ of, sense organ, and you call yourself hearer and etc., etc. Well, if they are all objects of knowledge, you are merely invariable consciousness present in waking state. And why I am telling invariable? Because you are present in a deep sleep state also, you are present in a dream state also, and that invariable consciousness is I. And then definitely you can tell, well, all this object of knowledge, that is anatma, because when they are not there, physical body resolves. It's only available in the waking state. But the consciousness is available, the I is available in the dream state also. Then definitely you are not the physical body. Same way the senses are available in a waking state. They are not available in a dream state. There you create a new sense organs. Well, definitely, so you are not sense organ. It has been proved. Because that is only available in the waking state. And you, the consciousness, available even in a dream state also, where the senses are absent. So you are not senses. If you are the senses, how will, if senses resolve, you should be resolved. But you, the consciousness, is still present in the in a deep sleep state, in a dream state. Therefore, you are not senses, you are not physical body. Well, the even mind which is available in the dream state, even that resolves. Thought resolves and you go to deep sleep state. Well, you are there very much. That's how you woke up and say, well, I did not know anything. So the invariable consciousness is devoid of all the things, physical body, senses, organ of action, mind, prana, etc. everything. And so you are just invariable conscious. That is the lakshartha. That is the lakshartha of a Tvampada. Tvampada Vachyartha means a jiva who is identified with both the bodies. Whereas invariable consciousness is one who is devoid of all this. So I have from the Tvampada Vachyartha, which is jiva identified with the both the bodies, I have removed that portion. What I have removed? This body, etc. From it has been considered as a non-I. It is not I. They are all objects of knowledge. They are available in a particular state, not available in all the states. And therefore, definitely, it is non-I. And therefore, I have removed from Tvampada Vachyartha. And, well, I have found from the analysis of all the three states, well, I am just consciousness, invariable consciousness, that is Tvampada Lakshyartha. That is so Bhagasya Tyagaha. I have removed the senses and mind and everything as a non-I. Because of identification I was taking like that. So Shrotrasya Shrotram etc. will give you this Tvampada Lakshyartha. And well, then it has been told Tadeva Brahmatvam Vitti. That Pratyeka Atma, that invariable consciousness is Brahman, which is Jagat Karanam. And by Jagat Karanam we want to say this invariable consciousness is limitless. It is in the form of everything. And where all the things are me, but I transcend everything. Therefore I am limitless. So Jagat Karanam etc. has been introduced in order to understand it is limitless. That's only mean. Because Upadana Karanam only pervades the creation. And creation is mithya. And therefore I pervade everything. Well, pot is mithya means what? It is clay. Clay pervades entire pot. Clay alone is. For that purpose we have done that. And so, I am limitless consciousness. There is no question of objectification. To say now, yes, I know Brahman, not as an object of the thought, not as an object of thought now. The very subject which has been proved from the analysis of three states as invariable consciousness has been proved as limitless Brahman, which is Satyam, etc., etc. So this I am limitless Brahman. That is how Brahma Jnanam takes place. So, what is the result? Amrutatvam hi vindate. Well, one indeed gains freedom from all forms of change. Because I am Satyam, I am limitless. Whatever changes are happening, they are all at the level of forms, name and forms. But they are really speaking, that's not real change. I am present in everything as a non-changing factor. So one who is no more ignorant of oneself, the self-revealing consciousness being Brahman, well, gains Amritattvam, so gains immortality. Because there is no question of death of a given name and form, death of a knower, let's say, just death of a knower, death of known, death of the thought, knowledge. That is there. That is how it is going to happen. Superficial level, all these forms keep dying and changing all the time. Well, but basically I, the consciousness which is Satyam, which is invariably present in that, it does not undergo any change, death is a change basically. Death is a change. It is one of the state, right? Jayate, asti, vardate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. Then again jayate. That is how it is. This is all at the level of name and form. All at the level of name and form. That is what the Jagat is. Basically, I am the truth in all. and without me they don't exist at all. So the person being free from this notion that I am subject to death and know that I am Brahman gains freedom from the sense of mortality and from the sense of, from the fear of mortality. That's a main thing. Abhayam pratistham vindate. He gains abundance in fearlessness, because now there is no question of death. There is no question of, even some people have a fear of old age also. Well, that is also not there. Some people have a fear of falling the hair, falling the teeth, etc. or falling the capacity to listen, to see. Swamiji, what will happen after some time? Somebody asked me, Swamiji, this is right now I'm able to listen and I'm able to attend the classes and I'm able to come also for the classes. What will happen if in old age, what will happen? I will not be able to listen, I will not be able to see, I will not be able to come to the classes. What will happen? What will happen? Well, nothing will happen. Know that no change happens. Anything happening is mithya. Brahman, where nothing happens is Brahman. Where nothing happens is Brahman. Every happening is at the level of name and form. That is mithya. So anyway, so amritattvam hi vindate. That's how he gains amritattvam. Just taking one cognition, it leads him to the immortality. You are immortal, that's what I want to convey. You are immortal. Recognize yourself as immortal being. That's all. Drop the notion of mortality. He is gaining immortality. That's going to be told also in the next mantra also. So I am the very content of the thought. I am free from the thought itself. This is how you have to see. I am content of the knower. I am now content of the knowledge. I am content of the known. Content means the satyam, the very essence. What is the content of the snake? Rope. Either you call content, either you call atma, either you call satyam, either you call essence. It is same thing. What is atma of the rope? What is essence of what is atma of the snake? What is the essence of the snake? What is reality of the snake? Same thing. Sometimes they use word reality and sometimes they say essence and sometimes they say atma. That is how it is. So basically, I am content of everything because I am the cause of entire creation, which is mithya. And therefore, basically, I am alone everything. Therefore, there is nothing called pot. Well, clay is atma of pot. Clay is the essence of the pot. Clay is the truth of the pot. That's how it is. So this is how knower, known and knowledge. All this is basically I am the content. So I am bound is a notion basically. And content of the notion, the content of that notion, well, is not bound. That is, that transcends the boundary. Well, so if I say I am the knower, then definitely I am bound to the knower. But if I say I am knower, known and knowledge, I alone, therefore I have crossed the boundaries, basically. So I am bound, that is a notion. When that notion goes away, the bondage also goes away. So basically you are not bound, you are free. You transcend all the three means you are free. You don't have any boundary. All the three are you, you are not all the three. All the three means that knower, known, etc. Seer, seen. You can take any pair. You can take any pair. Hearer, heard and hearing. Seer, seen and seeing. Knower, known and knowledge, whatever. So that is how, that erroneous thought which goes away that I am bound, that bondage also goes. I am free from all the forms of limitation, time-wise, and space-wise, object-wise. All kinds of limitation do not pertain to me. I pervade all the objects, therefore no object-wise limitation. I pervade all the time, and therefore, basically I am timeless, so no time-wise limitation. And I pervade entire creation, so no space-wise limitation, and therefore basically creation exists in me, all the thing exists in me, whatever is known is existing in me, the knower also exists in me, the consciousness and the very knowledge also exists in me. So this knowledge I am liberated, is an accomplished fact. I am liberated is an accomplished fact, but you will come to know. If you drop the notion that I am bound, then this even though you have attained it, you are free basically, but you don't know it. Anyway, so, and except some other things are also there, and the result of this knowledge, we'll see that tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.